The quantum array beneath the Atacama Desert hummed to life as Dr. Elena Santos adjusted the final calibrations. For 3 years, the international team had maintained the facade that they were building a new type of radio telescope. In reality, the array was humanity's most sophisticated early warning system, designed to detect the one thing they hoped never to find. Tonight, it found it. Dr. Santos, her assistant's voice trembled. "You need to see this." The signal pulsed across their quantum-enhanced displays with an unmistakable pattern, artificial in origin, encoded with complex data structures that could only come from an advanced civilization. But it wasn't directed at Earth. It was a communication between 2 points in deep space, intercepted by their array's revolutionary quantum detection system. Elena's hand steadied as she began the decryption sequence they'd prepared for this moment. The message was encrypted using principles they'd theorized might be universal to advanced civilizations, mathematical constants that transcended planetary origins. Within hours, the first fragments of translated data appeared on her screen. Assessment of Resource World 2781 complete. Indigenous species shows minimal technological development. Biological diversity exceptional. Harvest authorized. Standard subjugation protocols approved. She read the words 3 times, each pass confirming what humanity had feared since they'd first detected unusual quantum fluctuations in deep space. They weren't alone, and their first contact wouldn't be peaceful. Within 24 hours, the Council of Earth convened in their hidden chamber beneath the Swiss Alps. Unlike the public United Nations above, this was the true governing body of humanity, formed in secret after the first detection of quantum anomalies suggested advanced civilizations might be watching. The Atacama Array confirms what we suspected. Elena addressed the assembled leaders, her hologram projected into the secure chamber. An advanced confederation of species has marked Earth for resource extraction. They believe we are primitive, having detected only our public-facing technology. Council President Chen nodded grimly. Operation Aurora's timeline. The atmospheric quantum matrix is at 82% coverage, General Sarah Williams reported. We can have full planetary coverage within 18 months if we maintain current production levels. They'll arrive before then, Elena interjected, her fingers dancing across unseen displays. Based on the signal's origin and the referenced protocols, we estimate 14 months until first contact. The chamber fell silent as the implications settled over the assembled leaders. For 20 years, they had prepared in secret, unifying humanity's resources and brilliance behind a carefully maintained facade of division and technological limitation. Now, they would learn if it had been enough. What they see as our weakness will be our strength. Dr. Kenzo Tanaka spoke up from his position as head of Project Aurora. They expect to find a primitive world with an uncontrolled atmosphere. Instead, they'll find we've turned every molecule of air into part of the most sophisticated defensive system ever conceived. Elena watched the council members' faces as they processed the situation. 20 years ago, when she'd been a young physicist detecting the first quantum anomalies that suggested advanced civilizations were watching Earth, the world's leaders had made an unprecedented decision. Instead of announcing their discovery, they would prepare in secret. The public continued their lives unaware, watching seemingly primitive rockets launch satellites that secretly carried quantum resonators. Political conflicts were carefully staged while underground. Nations worked together with unprecedented cooperation. Every apparent weakness was carefully crafted, every limitation a deliberate misdirection. Deploy the final resonators, President Chen commanded. Accelerate production but maintain secrecy at all costs. If they detect our true capabilities before we're ready. He left the sentence unfinished. Elena returned to her lab beneath the desert's surface, where the quantum array continued monitoring the alien communications. Their visitors believed they were approaching a primitive world ripe for conquest. Instead, they were walking into a trap 20 years in the making. As she worked through the night, Elena thought about the magnitude of humanity's gambit. They had turned their entire atmosphere into a weapon, using quantum principles to transform every air molecule into part of a vast, controllable matrix. When activated, Project Aurora would give humanity control over the very air their enemies would try to breathe. The aliens were coming to harvest Earth's resources, but they didn't realize that humanity had already harvested their greatest resource, their atmosphere, and turned it into something that defied the conventional laws of physics. In the coming months, humanity would maintain their carefully crafted image of a primitive, divided species. Their visitors would see exactly what they expected to see: outdated satellites, crude rockets, and squabbling nations. They wouldn't see the quantum network spanning the globe, the resonators hidden in every primitive satellite, or the unified human civilization waiting behind the facade. Elena looked up at the night sky through her lab's viewport. Somewhere out there, a hostile force was approaching, confident in their superiority. They had no idea they were about to encounter humanity's greatest deception and humanity's greatest triumph. The signal continued its steady pulse, counting down to an encounter that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of humanity. In 14 months, their visitors would learn why humanity had chosen to hide their true nature. Not out of fear, but because sometimes the best defense was letting your enemy believe they had already won. Light danced across the quantum displays as Dr. Kenzo Tanaka reviewed the latest atmospheric integration tests. Deep beneath Mount Fuji, in a facility that officially didn't exist, humanity's greatest technological achievement was approaching completion. The Aurora Protocol was no longer just a theory, it was becoming reality. Final resonator array is online in the South Pacific, his assistant reported, her hologram flickering with quantum-encrypted data. We're at 97% global coverage. Kenzo allowed himself a small smile. 20 years of preparation had transformed Earth's atmosphere into something that would have seemed like magic to their ancestors. Each molecule of air was now part of a vast, interconnected quantum matrix, ready to be activated when the time came. In orbit, thousands of supposedly primitive satellites carried hidden quantum resonators, maintaining the atmospheric matrix while presenting a convincing facade of early-stage space technology to any watching eyes. The deception had to be perfect. They would only get one chance to surprise their uninvited guests. A priority alert flashed across his display. The council was convening emergency session. Within seconds, his consciousness was projected into the secure chamber beneath the Swiss Alps, joining dozens of other leaders connected through quantum entanglement. The hegemony fleet has accelerated, Elena Santos announced without preamble, her hologram displaying tactical data. New arrival estimate, 3 months. They've detected something. The room erupted in controlled tension. They were so close to completion, but not quite ready. What triggered their acceleration? President Chen demanded. A solar flare interfered with our atmospheric dampening field for 6.2 seconds, Elena explained. They detected a spike in quantum activity before we could compensate. They're suspicious, but their long-range scans still show what we want them to see. A pre-quantum civilization. General Williams' hologram stepped forward. Then we use this. Make them think they caught a glimpse of primitive quantum experiments. Let them believe we're just starting to stumble into quantum science. Kenzo nodded in agreement. We can deliberately create similar readings, but degraded, unstable. Make them think we're decades away from practical quantum technology. It was a dangerous game they were playing. The hegemony had subjugated 17 other civilizations, each time following the same pattern. Identify developing worlds, assess their resources, and strike before they could develop quantum-based defenses. Earth had turned that pattern into a trap. What's the status of the Chrysalis Protocol? Chen asked, turning to Dr. Amara Okafor, head of biological integration. Amara's hologram shimmered with data as she reported. All major population centers are ready. When Aurora activates, every human on Earth will be protected by their personal quantum field. The atmospheric matrix will recognize human biological signatures and adjust accordingly. It had been the greatest challenge of the project, ensuring that when they turned Earth's atmosphere into a weapon, it wouldn't harm their own people. The solution had been elegant, using quantum entanglement to link every human's biological signature to the atmospheric matrix. "Begin final preparations," Chen commanded. "Accelerate the integration timeline, but maintain our cover. If they realize what we've built here..." The implications hung heavy in the quantum-secured chamber. Their enemies were coming with technology centuries ahead of what Earth was supposed to possess. But humanity had done something unprecedented. They had taken their greatest vulnerability, their atmosphere, and turned it into their greatest weapon. In his lab beneath Mount Fuji, Kenzo returned to the final calibrations. The displays showed the atmospheric matrix rippling with potential energy, each molecule precisely tuned to respond to quantum commands. When activated, they could alter atmospheric density at will, create localized vacuums, or transform the very air into a plasma weapon. "Begin Phase 3 testing," he ordered his team. On the surface, the world continued its carefully orchestrated performance of a primitive civilization. Rockets launched with deliberately inefficient technology, nations engaged in choreographed conflicts, and humanity maintained its mask of division and technological limitation. But beneath the surface, in hidden facilities around the globe, the true face of human civilization was about to reveal itself. The Aurora Protocol wasn't just a defensive system. It was humanity's declaration that they would never be conquered, never be harvested, never be subjugated. As the final tests completed successfully, Kenzo thought about the hegemony fleet approaching Earth with their superior technology and centuries of conquest behind them. They thought they were approaching a primitive world ripe for harvest. Instead, they were flying into the most sophisticated trap ever created, where the very air they planned to breathe would become their undoing. The countdown to their arrival continued, but now humanity was ready. In 3 months, the galaxy would learn why it was a mistake to underestimate Earth. The Aurora Protocol wasn't just a weapon. It was humanity's promise to the stars that the age of conquest was over. The hegemony's advance fleet emerged from quantum space at the edge of the solar system, their massive ships distorting the fabric of reality itself. In his observation post on Europa, Commander James Chen watched through quantum-enhanced sensors as 37 warships began their approach toward Earth. Everything now hinged on humanity's ability to maintain their greatest deception. Initiating first contact protocols, he transmitted through the quantum-encrypted network. All stations maintain primitive emissions patterns. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden outposts continued their charade. The Mars colony broadcast simple radio signals discussing mineral surveys. The lunar base transmitted basic telemetry data. Every piece of advanced technology remained cloaked behind quantum fields that made them appear as natural background radiation. On Earth, Dr. Elena Santos monitored the hegemony's scanning attempts from her bunker beneath the Atacama. Their quantum arrays picked up every probe, every scan, every attempt to analyze Earth's defenses. The aliens were thorough, methodical, and completely deceived. They're deploying atmospheric analysis drones, Elena reported to the Council. Exactly as predicted. In the hidden chamber beneath the Swiss Alps, the world's true leaders watched as their plan entered its final phase. President Chen's hologram nodded grimly. Let them see what they expect to see. Dr. Tanaka, status of Aurora. Matrix is fully integrated and dormant, Kenzo replied. Their scans show exactly what we want. An ordinary nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. The quantum layer is perfectly camouflaged. The hegemony ships entered high orbit, their massive forms visible even to civilian telescopes. Right on schedule, they'd broadcast their message. The same message they had sent to 17 other civilizations before Earth. People of Earth, the transmission began in multiple languages. We are the hegemony of advanced species. Our scans indicate your civilization has reached a crucial development stage. We offer guidance, protection, and integration into our collective. Elena watched as news networks worldwide broadcast the message. The carefully orchestrated panic was perfect. Governments appeared fragmented, military responses seemed disorganized, and Earth's defensive capabilities looked primitive and inadequate. "Their ground forces are deploying," General Williams reported. "Atmospheric insertion beginning in multiple locations. They're following standard subjugation protocols." Through quantum-encrypted feeds, the Council watched as massive hegemony dropships descended through Earth's atmosphere. Their sensors probed the air, finding nothing but what appeared to be normal planetary conditions. The quantum matrix remained invisible, each molecule perfectly masking its true nature. The first hegemony ambassador landed in Geneva, emerging from their ship with the confident air of those who had conquered many worlds before. They were tall, crystalline beings who moved with fluid grace, their bodies shimmering with advanced technology. "We come in peace," the ambassador announced to the hastily assembled United Nations delegation. "Your world has great potential, but also great dangers. The path to quantum technology is treacherous. Without proper guidance, you risk destroying yourselves." Elena watched the transmission from her bunker, appreciating the irony. The hegemony truly believed they were saving primitive species from themselves. Their guidance would begin with protective occupation, followed by resource extraction, and finally cultural integration, erasing everything that made each species unique. In orbit, more hegemony ships arrived daily. Their scans grew more detailed, their probes more numerous. They were looking for any sign of resistance, any hint that Earth might be more than it appeared. They found nothing but carefully crafted evidence of a primitive civilization on the verge of quantum discovery. "Final ship has entered orbital position," Commander Chen reported from Europa. "Total count, 112 capital ships. They're deploying their harvesting fleet." This was the moment they had prepared for. The hegemony always followed the same pattern: position their ships in a precise grid to begin atmospheric processing, the first step in their resource extraction protocol. In doing so, they would inadvertently complete humanity's trap. "All Council members confirm," President Chen's voice was steady. "Operation Aurora is now active. Time until orbital grid completion: 6 hours. Maintain deception protocols until my mark." Elena looked at the quantum displays showing Earth's atmosphere. To the hegemony sensors, it appeared normal, ripe for processing into the rare elements they coveted. They couldn't see that humanity had already processed it into something far more valuable, a weapon that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. In 6 hours, the hegemony would learn that humanity's greatest deception wasn't hiding advanced technology. It was hiding how far they had advanced beyond anything the hegemony had imagined possible. The air itself was about to become Earth's first line of defense, and humanity's greatest triumph. High above Earth, the hegemony fleet completed its harvesting grid formation. 112 ships positioned with perfect precision, ready to begin processing Earth's atmosphere into valuable quantum reactive elements. In the crystalline command center of the flagship, Supreme Commander Vexthor observed the primitive planet with satisfaction. Another routine acquisition for the glory of the hegemony. "Begin atmospheric processing," he ordered, his crystalline form resonating with authority. "Standard extraction protocols." In that moment, President Chen's voice echoed through every quantum-encrypted channel on and around Earth. "Execute Aurora Protocol." Dr. Kenzo Tanaka's fingers danced across quantum interfaces in his Mount Fuji facility. Matrix activation in 3, 2, 1. The atmosphere awakened. At first, the hegemony sensors detected nothing unusual, just a slight variation in atmospheric density. Then the variation grew, and grew, and grew. "Supreme Commander," a sensor operator called out, their crystalline form vibrating with alarm. "The atmosphere, it's responding to us." Vexthor watched in disbelief as Earth's air itself began to move with purpose. The supposedly primitive planet's atmosphere was transforming, each molecule revealing itself as part of a vast, interconnected quantum matrix. Their sensors, designed to detect any known form of technology, had been completely blind to it. "Impossible," he whispered, just as Dr. Elena Santos' voice cut through every hegemony communication channel. "This is Earth Defense Command to all hegemony vessels. For centuries, you have harvested worlds, stripped them of resources, and subjugated their peoples. You thought Earth would be your 18th conquest. Instead, you have entered a trap 20 years in the making." Around each hegemony ship, the atmosphere began to change. Quantum-controlled air molecules created localized vacuum pockets, disrupting shield harmonics. Where their weapons attempted to fire, they found their energy dispersed by atmospheric quantum fields that shouldn't have been possible. All Aurora nodes activated, General Williams reported from her command center. Atmospheric control at 100%. Beginning Phase 2. The air itself became a weapon. Precisely controlled quantum fields created plasma channels that cut through hegemony shields as if they were paper. Ships that attempted to escape found themselves trapped in pockets of hyper-dense atmosphere, their quantum drives unable to establish stable fields. In his Europa observation post, Commander Chen watched as humanity revealed its true face to the galaxy. Ground forces deploying Aurora infantry units. Across Earth's surface, human soldiers activated their quantum integration suits, becoming one with the atmospheric matrix. They moved through the air like ghosts, the atmosphere itself enhancing their capabilities far beyond anything the hegemony had encountered. "Your empire ends here," Elena's voice continued, transmitted through the very air molecules the hegemony had hoped to harvest. "We could have revealed ourselves decades ago. We could have joined your hegemony as the primitive species you expected us to be. Instead, we chose to prepare, to advance, to surpass." Vexthor watched helplessly as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by weapons and technology that defied his understanding. The humans hadn't just mastered quantum technology. They had taken it in directions the hegemony had never imagined possible. "Quantum matrix reaching critical resonance," Kenzo reported. "Beginning final phase." The atmosphere around the hegemony fleet suddenly crystallized into quantum-controlled patterns that matched their own crystalline technology. Before they could react, their ship's molecular structure began to harmonize with Earth's atmospheric matrix, not destroying them, but rendering their technology inert. "We offer you a choice," President Chen's voice replaced Elena's. "Surrender and help us free the 17 worlds you've enslaved, or face complete quantum crystallization. Your empire built itself by harvesting the resources of others. We built ourselves by transforming our greatest vulnerability into our greatest strength." In the flagship's command center, Vexthor made the first wise decision of his career. "This is Supreme Commander Vexthor. To all hegemony forces, stand down. I repeat, stand down." The battle for Earth had lasted less than 30 minutes. As hegemony crews were taken into custody by quantum-enhanced human forces, Elena watched from her bunker as the atmospheric matrix rippled with power. They had done more than defend Earth. They had changed the galaxy's balance of power forever. "Begin transmission to all occupied worlds," President Chen ordered. "It's time to show the galaxy that humanity isn't just another species to be harvested. We are its defenders now." The atmosphere of Earth pulsed with quantum energy, sending a message to every subjugated world. Liberation was coming, carried on the wings of a power that had transformed the very air into humanity's greatest triumph. 1 year after the Battle of Earth, Dr. Elena Santos stood in the Grand Chamber of the new Galactic Council, watching representatives from 23 species debate the future. The 17 liberated worlds had joined Earth in forming a new coalition, one built on mutual respect and advancement rather than conquest. The hegemony's former capital world of Crystallis now hosted this unprecedented gathering. Its crystalline spires reflected the light of 3 suns, while in its atmosphere, Earth-designed quantum matrices helped clean centuries of industrial pollution. "The liberation of Proxima 9 is complete," General Williams reported, her hologram shimmering with quantum-encrypted data. "The last hegemony holdouts have surrendered. The atmospheric restoration program can begin." Elena smiled, remembering how far they'd come. Earth's quantum atmospheric technology had proven to be more than just a weapon. It was a tool for healing worlds ravaged by centuries of exploitation. Each liberated planet was receiving its own customized version of the Aurora system, adapted to their unique atmospheric conditions. The hegemony's greatest mistake, Dr. Kenzo Tanaka observed from his new research facility on Mars, was assuming that all developing civilizations would follow the same technological path they did. They never imagined we would transform our atmosphere into a quantum computing matrix. In the years since their victory, humanity had shared carefully controlled versions of their technology with their new allies, not to control them, as the hegemony had done, but to help them develop their own unique paths to advancement. Ambassador Santos, a voice called. Elena turned to face Vex Thor, the former Supreme Commander who now represented the reformed Crystalline Collective. His people had undergone their own revolution after the defeat, rejecting their empire's destructive past. "The quantum harmonics data you requested," he said, extending a crystalline data matrix. "Our ancient records suggest 3 more civilizations that the hegemony that we suppressed centuries ago. Their worlds may still be viable for restoration." Elena accepted the data with a nod. The former hegemony's cooperation had been crucial in helping restore worlds they had once devastated. It was a testament to humanity's approach, not to crush their defeated enemies, but to help them find a better path. "Council is beginning," Commander Chen announced through the quantum network. On Earth, President Chen prepared to address the assembled representatives of 23 species, his words carried through quantum-enhanced transmission systems that made distance meaningless. "1 year ago," he began, his image clear in council chambers across dozens of worlds, "humanity revealed itself to the galaxy. Not as conquerors, like those who came before, but as liberators and innovators. We prove that a civilization's greatest perceived weakness can become its greatest strength." Elena watched the assembled representatives, crystalline beings, energy forms, organic species of all types, united not by force but by choice. Earth's quantum atmospheric technology had started a revolution in how species viewed their own worlds and capabilities. "The age of harvest is over," Chen continued. "Together, we begin an age of growth. Each world, each species, developing along their own path while sharing knowledge and resources freely." The Aurora Protocol was more than a weapon. It was proof that there are always new ways to advance, new paths to explore. In orbit above Crystallos, Earth's new diplomatic fleet held position. Unlike the hegemony's massive warships, these vessels were elegant implementations of atmospheric quantum technology. They carried the promise of protection and advancement to any world that sought to join the new coalition. "We've detected quantum signatures from the Andromeda Galaxy," Kenzo reported through the secure network, "similar to the ones that first warned us about the hegemony. There are other empires out there, other forces that may see developing worlds as resources to be harvested." Elena nodded, already anticipating humanity's next great project. They had transformed their atmosphere into a shield and sword when they needed it. Now they would help transform the atmospheres of 100 worlds into a network of protection and advancement that would span the galaxy. "Let them come," she said softly. "They'll find not just humanity waiting for them, but a coalition of species who have learned to turn their uniqueness into strength." In the council chamber, President Chen concluded his address. 20 years ago, humanity chose to hide our advancement, not out of fear, but because we saw a chance to change the galaxy's future. Today, we choose to lead openly, not through force or conquest, but through innovation and cooperation. The air we breathe, the atmosphere that every species evolves within, is not just a resource to be harvested. It is the cradle of civilization itself, and we will help each world transform their cradle into a foundation for greatness. As the council chamber erupted in approval, Elena looked out at the assembled representatives of 23 species. The hegemony had spent centuries teaching the galaxy that advancement came through conquest and harvest. Humanity had proven there was another way, one that turned weakness into strength, enemies into allies, and atmospheres into miracles. The dawn of a new era had truly begun, and it started with the simple idea that even the air itself could be more than anyone had imagined possible.